Hi, I've been asked to do a video all about bubbles. So I've tried to do 3 different bubble mixtures and we'll have a look and see what happens. What are you going to need to make your bubble mixture? Well, water, obviously, some washing up liquid, and then some ingredients that might surprise you. I've got one which uses sugar, ordinary granulated sugar. I've got one that uses baking powder, and I've got one that uses glycerin. Now this is just from the baking aisle. You can get it now. I know there's been a shortage of baking things. It's usually with the icing, only £1 a bottle, so that's nice and cheap. So I've got 3 mixtures. This one, I had 250 ml of water. I added 1 tablespoon of sugar and dissolved that sugar before I added the 2 tablespoons of washing up liquid. And this is a recipe from Steve Spangler off the internet, so we'll try his recipe. This recipe I got from elsewhere on the internet. 250 ml of water, 4 tablespoons of washing up liquid, so more washing up liquid, and a tablespoon of baking powder. And then for the third one, I kind of made it up really. I'm going to do another video about big bubbles, and for my big bubble solution I use glycerin, so I thought, well, let's try glycerin for little bubbles. So 250 ml of water, I've kept the amount of water constant, 4 tablespoons of washing up liquid, and I've put 1 tablespoon of the glycerin in and mixed it up. So the next thing before we try our mixtures is bubble wands. Now if you've already got a bubble wand hanging around from bubble mixture, that's fantastic, use it. I've tried some different things. I've struggled with bubble wands, to be honest with you. Now I saw this is different. I saw this on the internet, and these are bubble cones. Just need a piece of thin card or thick paper. You roll it up, a little bit of tape on it, so you want one end small to go in your mouth, one end big to go in your bubble mixture, and then you'll end up, when you've rolled it up, with it like that. So you just want to take it and you want to cut that level. So I'll just cut that across there, cut it level. There we go. So you've got your circle to make your bubbles. It doesn't matter if it's not a circle, because your bubbles will always be spherical because of the surface tension. So let's have a go. So we've got Mr. Steve Spangler's. Let's see how that goes. We need to get a film over the end of the bubble cone. I haven't got a film. There we go, we're getting a bubble. That's Mr. Steve Spangler's. This is the other one with the baking powder. Let's try this. That's pretty good. I got a beautiful bubble. There's some lovely colours on the bubble. Make sure you've got a film. No, I had 1 good bubble. There we go again. We got another good bubble. Let's try this one. Let's try our third one with the glycerin in, see if that makes any difference. There we go. Right. I tried making bubble wands. I tried making them out of wire and it didn't work, and I thought, well, perhaps that's because it's not holding enough of the bubble mixture. So I then thought pipe cleaners might work, because the fluff would store a reservoir of the mixture. So I used some pipe cleaners to try and make bubble wands. This is Mr. Steve Spangler's. Okay, I should have another bubble wand for, I've dropped, fallen on the floor. Here we go, for the other one. I can't remember where I got this recipe with the baking powder. Not working too well with the bubble wand. And then let's try the one with the glycerin in. Okay, the pipe cleaner's okay. What I then tried with my wire one that wasn't working very well, I wrapped string round the end, just to see if that would help, if that would make it work any better. So let's try Steve Spangler's recipe with the sugar. It's not great, is it? I quite like the bubble cones. I think I'll go back to my bubble cones. Which bubble cone did I use in which one? So let's have a look at the bubbles. I'm getting beautiful colours on those bubbles, and this is going back to my refraction video about rainbows, if you remember me talking about rainbows. I said the colours on rainbows are because of the light being refracted or bent as it goes from one transparent material to another. So as the light goes from the air into the bubble film, which is water, the water molecules are attracted to each other and they hold together to make this bubble outer shape, and the other additives, the washing up liquid, the sugar, act to try and stop it from drying out. But as the light travels from one material to another, it's bent. And as you know, with the rainbows, the different colours have different wavelengths, so they're bent by different amounts, and this split. Right, so I've done a video all about bubbles. Let's do some really big bubbles, because that is just such fun. The first thing you'll need to do is make yourself a bubble wand. Now, what I've got here is just a garden cane, so you just want a straight stick of some sort. Doesn't matter if it's thicker than this, but a garden cane is perfect. You'll want some string, not nylon string, it needs to be cotton string that's going to be absorbent, and you need a washer or a nut, something, a bead, something that you can tie onto the string that will give it a little bit of weight to hold it down and stop it flapping about. Length of the string is not important. I cut this 120 centimetres long, this piece of string. It's not critical. First thing you need to do is tie one end of the string tightly onto one end of your stick. Now you don't want that to come off, so what I actually do is I put a little blob of glue onto it just to hold it there. So that's held at one end, it's not going to move. The next thing you want to do is, I've got my string tangled. This is a common problem with these bubble wands. You want to thread your washer or your nut onto the string so that it's on the string like that. Okay, and the final thing, you're nearly there, you've nearly made your bubble wand, is you just want to tie a loop in the other end so that it will slide up and down your stick. It just needs to be able to slide up and down. So you'll dip this in, you'll get your bubble film, you will slide it open to make your bubble. So once you've got that, while you're letting your bit of glue dry, we can put that to one side and we can make our big bubble mixture. Here's the recipe for your big bubble mixture. 6 cups of water, which I have in this bowl. Half a cup of corn flour, half a cup of washing up liquid, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and 1 tablespoon of glycerin. So in my bowl I have the 6 cups of water, the half a cup of corn flour, the 1 tablespoon of baking powder, and the 1 tablespoon of glycerin. Now I want to mix these together before I add the washing up liquid. Now, the corn flour will settle out. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Some people into big bubbles say that if you leave this 24 hours, it works better. And I've always done that. But the other day I thought, well, I'm going to try it out. So I made 2 batches that I left for 24 hours. And I made 1 batch the morning I was going to do the bubbles, and then I took them both into school and the children used it and I couldn't see any difference, so I don't think it really matters, but you can still use this the next day. So now I'm going to add my washing up liquid. There's my half a cup of washing up liquid that I'm adding in. You want to stir it gently, you don't want it to froth up and go too mad. Now I'm doing this in a clear glass mixing bowl so you can see what I'm doing. I would normally just do this in a washing up bowl. Always done it in a washing up bowl before. Any container you've got really, but I just thought I'd do it in a clear mixing bowl and then you can see what I'm doing here. And we just carefully mix that in. Now, don't be discouraged if you don't get big bubbles straight away. I've found that often the first few goes you don't get any big bubbles at all, and that as you go and the more you use this bubble mixture, the better it gets and the bigger the bubbles you get. So what we're going to do, get your bubble wand, your string with your washer. You need to dip it in and get your string nice and wet. Hold it together, and you want to make sure you've got a film. See, I haven't got a film there yet. You need to keep going. It won't happen straight away. I'm starting to get a film. Don't know if you can see that film. So I'm starting to get a film, and I will be starting to get some bubbles. Okay. I will show you some big bubbles, hopefully. Right. So all we do, I've got our bowl of bubble mixture. As I said, the corn flour settles out, just stir it up. Dip your strings into the bubble mixture, lift it out, make sure you've got a film, and then hopefully, as I say, the first few won't be very good. Persevere. And as you go, you will get more and more big bubbles. Let's try. And it gets better the more you use it. The little washers there on the bottom just to hold the string down. And if it doesn't work for you, first of all, just persevere, keep trying, and eventually you will get some really big bubbles. You will end up with some white marks on your clothes, don't worry. That is just the corn flour. It will dry, it will rub off, and it will not cause any problems at all. Whoa, look at that one. You can see the beautiful colours caused by the refraction of light, those different wavelengths of light refracted by different amounts, giving you the spectrum of different colours.